Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox Sports Midwest Live in Ballpark Village on this Monday of Thanksgiving week. I'm Dan McLaughlin of Fox Sports Midwest, your MC for today. Now, we know it is cold out there, but that never stops us from talking Cardinals baseball, right? From talking Cardinals baseball. All right. So who's excited about 2019? All right. Big welcome to our fans from all over the world joining us on Facebook. Let them know that you're here today at Ballpark Village, please. Let them hear you. Social media posts, emails inviting you down today. We promised you we're going to flip. You know what that means. We're going to flip who flips. For our big announcement today. We'll get into that in just a second, but first let's welcome our speakers to the stage. First up, let's take it back. Okay, take it back. Close your eyes right now. Close your eyes. Can everybody just close your eyes? 2003, bottom of the ninth. Cardinals Cubs at Busch. Cardinals hoping to get a spot first place in the division. This guy comes up. Kerry Robinson, ladies and gentlemen, with the leadoff walk-off home run against the Cubs, one of the most famous walk-offs in the early 2000s. He's now a St. Louis resident. Kerry helps the team win. He's a professional scout with us now. He's with us. Open up your eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, Kerry Robinson is with us today. Next, a busy man this offseason, but he took a break from his busy schedule. He's been with the club since 1996. Please welcome President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak. Also with us today for our special announcement, the President of the St. Louis Cardinals, Bill DeWitt III. Next on the stage, you know him for his speed, his defense, and, well, maybe that great flow. Center fielder, Harrison Bader. One more seat on this stage here. Pretty sure we're expecting another guest. Fred Bird? No. Take a look.
It's back.
Well, now you know the powder blue is back. And to remind us why we love this color so much, here with us today, the 15-time All-Star, 13-time Gold Glover, National Baseball and Cardinals Hall of Famer, the Wizard, Ozzie Smith. We're going to hear from Ozzie, Mo, Harrison, and Kerry in just a few moments. But first, to tell us more about this new powder blue jersey, please welcome to the stage the President of the St. Louis Cardinals, Mr. Bill DeWitt III.
Thanks, Dan. He looks pretty good. What do you think, guys? Nice, huh? Thanks, Dan, for hosting, and I want to thank a few folks here as well. Vicki Bryant and her team in special events, Jill Falk and her team in the communications department, Tony Simakaitis, Craig Wilson, and the entire Ballpark Village team. And Tony and Craig did the video, which was great. They always do a great job with those. So a few years ago, Kerry Robinson walked into my office, and he just kind of said, we got to get the blue back. He said, we got to get the powder blue. And I said, well, you know, for me, it's sort of always represented that era from the late 70s and early 80s. Lou Brock, Bob Forsch, Whitey Herzog, Willie McGee, Ted Simmons, Ozzie Smith, Bruce Sutter. The guys that wore that jersey represented it well, and to me it was part of that era, and I always kind of felt like it should stay in that era at that time. And so the other history of it, just kind of fun facts. The original Victory Blue debuted in 1976, continued until '84, and we've done throwback uniforms 5 or 6 different times prior to that or after that, but they were never as tight as they were in the 70s and 80s. We had belts instead of the Sansa belts. So the throwbacks were good, but they were never really perfectly accurate to the way they were. Probably the 2 biggest moments in the powder blue era were Lou Brock stealing bases 892 and 892 and 893 in San Diego, which tied and broke Ty Cobb's Major League record in 1977 at San Diego. And then when Willie McGee hit those 2 home runs and robbed Gorman Thomas of the homer in Game 3 of the '82 World Series. How about that event in Milwaukee? That was awesome. So they represented it, that look represented an era. But on Kerry's recommendation, I ordered a sample from MLB, and I chose to use the same logo and stuff as the Saturday alternate jersey, which, as you know, has the St. Louis script, the piping, the number on the front, the red hat, and it kind of sat in my office. And I just kept sort of looking at it, and some months went by, and the deadline for choosing it last year came and went. And I just kind of thought, you know what, I should ask around, see what people think. I went to the clubhouse. The guys in there were like, dude, you got to do that. You got to do that, you know. And so I started thinking, you know, maybe as an alternate, kind of like we do the Saturday alternate, we should do a Saturday alternate on the road, using that same stuff on the front. And so, like a lot of things with the Cardinals, you know, you're always looking forward, but you're also always looking back. And I think the neat thing about this jersey is it does both. It's our modern jersey with the St. Louis, and it recalls earlier eras, but it's the modern feel and look and material, and these guys will be wearing it. And it'll be 13 times. We'll have a Saturday road game that will wear this, so not, you know, every road game. We'll still do our gray primarily. But I think it'll be a nice look back, as well as a way to sort of honor those great teams of the 70s and 80s, pay tribute, but also look forward and look, you know, have some variety with the team's uniforms. So thank you all for being here, and excited to hear about how these guys feel about it, and all of you as well. Thank you.
Check, check, check.
As part of the celebration today, we're going to clear out some space, and Ozzie apparently will do a backflip, so we're really, really excited about that. Ozzie, go ahead whenever you're ready. So, Ozzie, let's take us back to the blue unis. What does it mean to you to see it back in play and seeing these uniforms, and what do you think about? What's it take it back to Ozzie Smith? What's it like for you?
Well, you know, of course, we all had some wonderful memories of those blue uniforms. He talked about some of the history, you know, the World Series and all of that, and it makes you look faster. Doesn't he look faster? Yeah. But it's a great time in Cardinal history to have had the opportunity to wear the blue, and even now it's one of those things that when people that jersey, people buy the blue jersey a lot, and I sign that a lot, you know, so it's great to see it back.
Awesome. Harrison, what do you think of it? How's it feel?
Yeah, it feels great. You know, it's a great color, obviously, and, you know, as I saw and we all remember, I mean, you know, there's a lot of history in these jerseys, so, you know, I'm just looking forward to, and I know a lot of guys are too, to represent them the same way that you guys did, so, you know, I'm looking forward to it. It's awesome.
Mo will pass the microphone down. We'll do a little Q&A here, but Mo, what do you think about with the blue unis?
Well, it was funny because I was reading the script before we came out here, and it sounded like you guys wanted me to like reinvent the roster and go back to the late 70s, early 80s, and all 8 starters would be fast. They would steal bases. we wouldn't really worry about the long ball anymore. But in all seriousness, I think it's exciting that we welcome something new. And to Bill's credit, when we brought in the alternative Saturday uniform, I think it was a big hit, not only in the clubhouse, but also to our fans. And so to do this on the road, I think is smart. I think it does have a reflection back on our past, but it also has a touch of the future too, because I do think the way this uniform's cut and the way it lays on the player is very much more modern, and I think it'll be something that's very popular. So thank you.
Kerry, you grew up in St. Louis. Obviously, this is something, as Bill noted in his comments, this is important to you to go back to these blue unis. Tell me about that first conversation with Bill when you said this to him and said, hey, I like the blue unis. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so you said, I was a pro scout. As a pro scout the last few years, I've done a lot of traveling and really a lot in the South. But every night, I see some kind of Cardinals gear. I see a Cardinals hat, Cardinals jersey, or something like that. And over the last few years, occasionally I would see people wearing the throwback powder blue. And I would go up to them, ask them, what do you think of if the team went back to that or something like that? And 100% of the time, everybody thought it was a great idea. So I saw Bill, I think over a year ago, and I mentioned it to him. Nothing happens unless you throw it out there. So I mentioned it to him, and originally he thought, he gave me like, nah, that's not a good idea. And then I get an email a few months later of a prototype of the jersey, and I absolutely loved it. So I grew up a Cardinal fan just like everybody here in North County, and I remember Willie making that play in the World Series, and Ozzie, and I was a big fan of Darryl Porter's too. So I thought it would be a really good time to throw it back to those guys, give them some respect. But it's a beautiful color. Kids like colors these days, and a lot of the young kids don't even know the Cardinals wearing the powder blue. So I thought I'd mention it to them.
How about your favorite players growing up too? You mentioned obviously Ozzie, Willie, Darryl. How about some of the others?
Yeah, when I got to the high school level, I really was a big Ray Langford fan, and I think he might have wore the jersey one time as a throwback, but big Ray Langford fan, wanted to be him when I went to college, and he was one of my favorites too.
Mo, I know this is off subject a little bit, but a lot of fans here. How's the off season going for you?
I would say slow.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, we had the general managers meetings last week. I think really for all of us, it's just trying to get a better understanding of what that trade market's going to look like, what the free agent market's going to look like. And, obviously with Thanksgiving approaching this week, I don't imagine it being overly active, but that gives us 2 full weeks before we get out to Vegas for the winter meeting. So hopefully things will happen.
I just did that because the microphone was close. I was going to bring it up anyway, so I had to go back to it.
Thank you, Dan.
Sure, no problem, Mo. Bill, let's go back to how many prototypes you went with the uniform. I know you're such a stickler to the uniform and the history and whatnot. How many times did you look at something and say, not quite right, go do this, go do that? How many times did you go through it?
That process was certainly the case when we did the Saturday alternate, but since we just swapped out the base color, there wasn't really much to do on this one because we had already sort of worked out the details on the Saturday alternate.
How many fans email you about the hats on the road, what color needs to be what? How many times do you hear from fans about what needs to be worn?
You get straggler emails and letters on a fairly regular basis. People have their opinions, and that's what's exciting about it. I mean, Cardinal fans are passionate, whether it's the uniform or the players on the field or what we should be doing or the manager's moves. There's that passion, and I think for me, that's what makes it exciting. And we always want to keep our pulse on what's happening out there. You're not reading every last social media post from a fan, but you're trying to get a sense of the trends. And it felt to me like there was a little bit of a groundswell here with this idea, but also just in general, keeping our look fresh and current, but always having those birds on the bat.
As you were showing this privately to people, whether it be former players, current players, or those in the office, what was the reaction to that uniform?
Well, it was universally positive. The one thing I did do is had a full jersey brought in and wore it out, had somebody wear it outside, and we took some pictures in the sun and with the cameras, and we just want to make sure it wasn't too much. And of course, you look at the 70s and 80s in the pictures, and it seems to me when you accompany it with a lot of the red, like the red hat, the red undershirts. Hopefully Ozuna won't need to wear the bright yellow or whatever, but he can complement it with the red. I need to mention that to him, by the way. You got to.
It's coming.
So I think it tones it down and brings it back to Cardinal basics, which is obviously the red.
Harrison, what do you think the reaction of your teammates will be when they see this?
Yeah, I mean, they'll be excited for sure. You know, anytime you get to change it up is obviously a lot of fun. So, you know, I know a lot of guys will be looking forward to it.
How about your off season? What's your training like? What's your day-to-day like?
You know, I'm just laying low, traveling a little bit here and there, but for the most part, just getting ready for next season. You know, working out, hitting, pretty standard.
Are you a hockey fan?
I am a hockey fan, yeah.
Are you going to the Blues game tonight?
I'll be there tonight, yes.
Will we be seeing you drop a puck?
Yes, I'll be dropping the puck before the game.
Awesome, good.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that'll be a great experience. I've never done that. I just hope I don't slip, honestly. So.
Yeah, Mo's hoping that too. Yeah.
Yeah, we already discussed that, so thank you.
Yeah. But no, yeah, that'll be great. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Have fun. Ozzie, your former teammates, what do you think they're going to say about this when it's a little bit looser, not quite as tight, the baby blues?
Well, I think they'll love the color and the modern touch that you have to it now. But I think it's the color and the memories that will be the thing that we talk about.
Favorite moment for Ozzie Smith in that uniform?
Of course, Willie. The 2 home
Yeah.
runs in Milwaukee in the '82 series was a big moment, and I think you saw part of that on the video there. At a young guy like him coming up and having a night like that was very, very special. And you know, that wasn't an easy series for us, but we were able to prevail.
Ironically enough, by the way, the first time we'll see the group in their uniforms will be against Milwaukee on that Saturday, I believe. It'll be March 30th. Let's give our group a nice round of applause. Looking forward to what's coming up. Thank you, guys.